David Sanders, I think Tennessee's in good position for him. Number 3 player nationally, actually trending towards the Vols after his visit over the weekend. Top 50 edge rusher Isaiah Gibson decommitted from USC after visiting Tennessee. And it looks like the Vols are in good shape for him. I hate to project top 50 guys because you never really know. They play it close to the vest, but that's a big one, Caleb, if they could get him.
Yeah, Isaiah Gibson is from Warner Robins, Georgia. For those who may not remember, Marquez Callaway is actually from Warner Robins, Georgia. And I believe that's below what you call the gnat line, right, Dave, right?
Warner Robins would be a little above the gnat line, but right out there, yeah. It depends on the time of the year. In August, it's below the gnat line. In June, it's above the gnat line.
Okay, well, it's close enough to where typically that's a Georgia pipeline. So a lot of people are picking Georgia just based on that. But the Marquez Callaway tie, the fact that he decommitted after visiting Tennessee, right after visiting Tennessee, and the fact that, look, guys, we talk about the Hypo discount. The Hypo discount comes at receiver, at quarterback, and yes, at edge rusher. You want to be an edge rusher in this system because there will be chances for you to thrive because Hypo's whole offense system is predicated on the offense getting a lead and unleashing the edge rushers on the other side. So I think Tennessee is as appealing as any place in the country for them. So Isaiah Gibson is a great chance for them. They have a great chance for them with David Sanders Jr., the number 3 player in the nation, a 5-star offensive tackle. The selling point is Darnell Wright, quite honestly. And I think that Tennessee is in strong position to land him. All signs point to Tennessee being the favorite. The early predictions, the only official predictions on record right now is one prediction for him to go to Clemson. But I got to be honest. I think Tennessee is in a much stronger position than Clemson to land David Sanders right now, which is, I mean, look, Dave, they just picked up a 4-star in the trenches. They're leading for a 5-star and have a strong chance of landing another fringe 5-star all on the line. This is huge for Josh Heupel.
And then thanks for reminding me, you have Charles House out of North Mecklenburg, a 3-star prospect that many think will commit to Tennessee on Saturday. So the Vols are red hot in recruiting. Caleb, when you look at Tennessee's football recruiting and you talk about a discount, let's remind people what you mean there and why would Josh Heupel already get a discount when he hasn't even made a college football playoff yet?
Well, he turned Byron Young into an NFL draft pick pretty quickly. Had teams get out in front and open the checkbook to land Tyler Barron, whatever you think of him, on when he hit the transfer portal market. James Pierce is now being turned into a potential number 1 draft pick. I think the Heupel discount is coming from edge rushers because, again, Tim Banks' system, Rodney Garner's coaching, Rodney Garner's recruiting, and Josh Heupel's build, the way he's built his team, all are conducive to edge rushers being superstars in this system, the same way they are for wide receivers. So I think from that perspective, Tennessee, that's where I think he's a big land with Isaiah Gibson. Dave, what would it be like? And I just got to ask you this. What type of earthquake would it have on the SEC if Tennessee landed within the next week David Sanders, Isaiah Gibson, and Charles House?
You would be really close to taking note of that if you're like administrators. Like you're a little bit concerned because I think the level of coaching, even without Saban, is much better in the SEC. And on your side, to say that the Big Ten is going to be bigger one day, you've got the television contract. On my side, I have talent is in the area, right? It's more talent in the South than anywhere else. And I have, I believe, coaching, which is fluid. I think coaching is better. That's on my side right now, I think. You might disagree. But I believe that this is the kind of recruiting trend that if I'm an administrator, I'm like, we have a chance winning a championship if the SEC is getting all the top prospects. This is close to the point where I would take note of that. Is that a good answer to your question?
If you're a Tennessee administrator, you'd be concerned?
No, if I'm an administrator in the Big 10 or Big 12.
And all 3 just committed to Tennessee?
Well, no. And all of the, I'm talking about all, I thought you were talking about multiple prospects committing to SEC schools.
No, I said what type of earthquake would it have if Tennessee landed all three of
Okay.
those
Well,
players?
then I just stumbled along for too long. Sorry. Monstrous. If they pick up all three of these, it would be huge. It would still be very big. Shoot for 2 or 3. Why don't you can ask me 2 or 3 and I would still say really big, but monstrous if they got all 3 of them.
Yes. I think if Tennessee lands all three, you would still be very concerned if your other SEC schools, because with Tennessee's NIL, the way it is, and the way they're applying NIL now, which is more towards keeping players, the last thing you want is to Tennessee to start recruiting on the same level of Georgia or Alabama, because then it's a wrap. Because Tennessee has, I think, and Dave, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this, I think after signing players, Tennessee has way more structural advantages within the program than even a Georgia or Alabama has at this moment in terms of keeping players around, paying them enough, the culture that Josh Heupel's built. I think there are more structural advantages after you land the recruits. I don't think you're not as likely to get a Lane Kiffin 2009 class anymore at Tennessee.
And for those that don't remember, half of that class were felons.
Literally half. We're not exaggerating, guys.
Literally, well, we're exaggerating a little. There were more felons than All-American or than all SEC.
Than all SEC players. Yes, exactly.
That is true.
I mean,
But Kayla, I don't even think they need to pick up the house kid for this to be a huge weekend.
No, if they get the other two, it's a wrap. Like the house kid is a little bit of salt on top of the flavor.
Yeah. Or yeah, a little bit of creamer, I guess we should say. So Tennessee's class currently jumped up. Now it was 23 this morning, but when you add more, it jumps up to 16th in the nation. I would have told you that's not nearly good enough. Years and years and years in a row, and not that long ago. But now I think that's good enough because you supplement it with the transfer portal. So George McIntyre's your highest rated prospect, a 5-star prospect, followed by several 4-star prospects. You now add Nick Moore to the list as a 4-star out of Jeff County and Dandridge. Then you have the other 4-star prospects would be defensive lineman Ethan Utley, tight end Jack Van Dorselaer, and then Jaden Lofton is a 4-star prospect. Rodarius Jackson is a 4-star prospect. So let's take out of I'm going to do the quick math on this. So say something interesting, Caleb.
Okay, so what's my most interesting?
All right, I got it. All right, so out of 16 commitments, only 6 are rated 3 stars. The rest are 4 stars or 5 stars. That's pretty phenomenal. Let's get Caleb's thoughts on that after a quick message from Joe Newbert Collision Center.
5th year, the second and third generations continue Joe Newbert's commitment.
His vision of what this business needed to be, we still try to live up to that.
Joe Newbert Collision Center.
Caleb, what do you make of this top-heavy class? Because it is top-heavy.
I think that's the skew. That's why it's actually higher than 16th, quite honestly. It's a little bit skewed if you really look at the rankings, because right now Rutgers has the number 10 ranked class because they have 22 3-stars, and 247 Sports Composite puts strength in numbers. I think that it's already in great shape. David Sanders Jr. is being heavily recruited by George McIntyre specifically. I think by next week you might see this class shoot up to the top 10, and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Now, in all fairness, to play the other side of it, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 schools that have as many or more 4 stars as Tennessee. So that's about where they stand. Ohio State now with the number 1 class in the country, followed by Notre Dame. That's not going to last. Alabama at number 3. Texas A&M. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong list. Excuse me. Let's go to the overall. Number 1 is indeed Ohio State, Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. That's your top 5. Other SEC schools: Auburn 6, Oklahoma 7. Texas A&M 8. That was my point earlier. How if I'm other administrators at other places, I'm worried about the SEC's just raking in the talent. LSU comes in at number 11.